Hello everyone, welcome to your ninth C++ tutorial, and we are going to continue talking about loops now. So in the last tutorial we talked about the for loop, and today I'm going to be teaching you about the while loop. The while loop is also similar to the for loop, but it has a few differences. Let's start off by declaring a variable int, say I equal to 0, and then we start off with the while loop. While parenthesis and the condition say I less than 10, and then your curly braces and I plus plus inside. So right off the bat we see it is just like a for loop. I'll just show you a for loop side by sides. It is just like a for loop, except the initialization, the condition, and the step operator are all in different areas. So first we have to initialize the value of the variable, and then the while loop checks the condition, and then it increments the value. So let's just see out I, and remove this for loop. And now run the program. Sorry, semicolon. It's very important to remember to keep putting semicolons. Okay, so you see it gives the same output as a for loop would have done. The only thing is the structure is different. So let's just go through this. First, the value of the initial variable is initialized, so I equal to 0. Then the while loop checks if I is less than 10, and then it runs this. If I was 11 and we would run this, we wouldn't get any output. See, we get nothing. Okay, so first it checks the value, and then it performs whatever's inside, and it increments at the end. If we wanted infinite loop, we can do that by just removing the increment, and see, we'll get an infinite loop over here. And also you could just leave this like this, and now if you have to give it some value. So if we could give it 1 means always true. So if we would run this, see, it will again give infinite 0 0 0 0 0, and if we just give it 0 0 means false, and then run it, it gives nothing. So that's the while loop. Okay, so now let's go a little more further. Just like the while loop, there is another loop called the do while loop. So how that works is do, then your curly braces, and after the curly braces while, and in this the condition, and a semicolon at the end. Okay, now the do while loop is a little different from all the other loops. Let's just declare a variable int I equal to 0, cout I, give it an end line as well, and I plus plus, and the condition I less than 10. Again, this will give the same output. What's wrong? Okay, sorry, again semicolon, sorry about that. So again it gives the same output, but in do while loop the difference is the loop gets executed, and then the condition gets checked. Suppose I gave I the value 11, just like the last one. Now in the last one, in the while loop or in the for loop, we wouldn't get any output as such. It will just be blank. But first the program runs anyway, and then it will check the condition. Now if we run this, let's see what happens. It prints out 11, so exactly. And if we would have given say 19, it would do the same thing. See, it would give 19. That is because the loop gets executed first, and then the condition is checked. Now the do while loop is useful in menu driven programs. I'll show you an example. Yeah, in menu driven programs you want the menu to show up at least once and then terminate. So let's just make a short like restaurant menu, 1 for chicken and 2 for, let's say, lamb. Okay, and then we'll get a value. Let's just remove the value of I, and then while I not equal to 0. Okay. Yeah, let's just run this and see what happens. Okay, so if we enter 1, you see the loop continues. 2, the loop continues. 3 also, the loop continues. Any number you enter, the loop will continue. But if you give it 0, the loop ends. So that is how it works in this case. You know, you would usually do it like you would put a switch case or something, which would make the process a whole lot easier. And that is how the do-while loop is different from all the other loops. So we've completed all the main loops in C++, the for loop, the while loop, and the do-while loop. Mostly we'll be using the for loop, and the do-while loop will always be used when you're using menus. It's just much more easier to use and it makes more sense. The while loop, it's preference. Usually most people go for the for loop, or they don't usually go for the while loop. So that's pretty much it for this tutorial, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.